Hi everybody and welcome to GoFormative Math Help number 13, distance equals rate times time. We did a lesson we did like 3 weeks on distance equals rate times time back in January. And there's a lot of this that you had on a worksheet. The worksheet that's included in this lesson is one you've had in person, and we've done this together. You have notes of this in your binder and in your spiral. Distance, for those who forgot, that's really what school is all about, right? We take stuff, we do stuff, we forget stuff. We need to know where that stuff is so we can go back and look at it again. Not all things are worth remembering, but you know for sure the feeling of when you're supposed to know something and you don't, and that feeling's not very good. So at least for this video, you will have a spot to look at how to understand distance equals rate times time. Distance right there in the green says how far something is and is measured in inches, feet, miles, kilometers, meters, centimeters, etc. So rate, here's some examples of rate: miles per hour. It's usually the speed you're going, that's the rate. And then time, how long it takes to get places. Pretty simple definitions. Here's another definition in case you needed to see it a different way. A rate is a division relationship between two measures. We usually express a rate as a unit rate, which means that the number of the second measure is 1. Here are some examples: 65 miles per hour, 24 miles per gallon, 32 feet per second, 15 cents per ounce. A lot of real life math in this lesson, because this is, driving a car, which you will all do at some point, and grocery shopping, buying something, spending your money. So good to know your stuff, otherwise you're going to spend too much or drive too fast or not know or be late. Yeah, punctuality. Number 1, based on the information above, what does per stand for? Hint, it's a number. Okay, so if you look up here, it says it right here, which means that the number of the second measure is 1. If that's the first measure, miles, the second measure is always 1. So per. Guess what per means? That's right, it means 1. Here's an example of, I'll write per equals 1 so you can see that. Distance equals rate times time. If you're going 330 miles at 55 miles per hour, it's going to take you 6 hours. And there's 3 different ways to look at that, okay? 330 miles for 6 hours is going to be the speed of 55 miles per hour. Traveling at 55 for 6 hours gets you 330 miles. So it's the same information, but worded like 3 different ways, so that you see the differences there. Write the distance equation from above. So that would be, it's also right there. So write that right here, okay? John biked a distance of 100 kilometers in 4 hours. What was his rate? Distance equals rate times time. Plug in the distance, plug in the time, and then you're just solving like you're solving for x. You're solving a one-step equation. We're going to divide by 4 on both sides. And the problem above, what was John's average rate per hour? So you can actually just see that right there. You just plug it in. So far, we haven't done really any work at all except for read and write stuff down. And then same with this. We're going to figure out, what is that? What is that? What is that? This wants you to tell me how you figure out each one. So this one says, what gets multiplied to figure out the distance? Well, these 2 things get multiplied. So as long as you know what R and T are, you should be good to go. What gets divided to figure out the rate? We just did that in John's problem above. What did we divide to get the rate? We did the distance divided by the time. So you can write that answer for number 5, distance divided by time. There's actually 3 equations, and that's really what we're getting at here. What gets divided to figure out the time? So distance over R equals T. That's number 6 right there. Distance over T is R. That was number 5. And then your distance equals your r times 3. There's 3. It's the same equation, but 3 different ways to solve each of the 3 variables. And why is that important? Because when you do this section of problems right here, you only need to do this equation. Distance divided by time, distance divided by time, distance divided by time for this section. So you grab a calculator, you put the distance in. As long as you know which one's distance and which one's time, you're good. Just divide, 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 okay? This is time though, look, see? Divide, divide. That's not divided by that. This is your distance. That's your time. So divide. So you need to see which one's your distance, which one's your time. Which one's your distance, which one's your time. If it says hours on there, that cannot be your distance. Okay? If you want practice with that, just say a sentence saying, I walked 0.25 hours. It won't sound right, and you'll know that that's time. Okay? And then here, this is distance divided by the speed, the rate. Again, speed is rate. So you're going to find the distance. There it is, 5 meters. And you're going to divide it by 1. 5 divided by 1. 200 divided by 1.5. And use a calculator. Here we're just timesing. So take the 2 numbers, multiply, timesing. I don't think timesing is a word, but take the 2 numbers and multiply. This is where it's at right here, challenge problem. During class in January, out of 85 students this year, I think only about 10 or so were able to figure this one out. So I challenge you now that it's April, that we should be able to figure this out. It's really 2 problems in one, so just take your time on it and see if you can do it. You do have to figure out, the hardest part is the conversion rate, which in previous lessons I went over. So if you actually click on a different YouTube video, go back to like number 12 or perhaps number 11, there's a conversion chart. Or not even click on the video, go on your own GoFormative. If you click on number 12 or 11, you can see the conversion chart there. Once you convert kilometers to meters, also if you just ask Siri, hey Siri, what is 14.4 kilometers in meters? It'll tell you. So Siri's good like that. Unless Siri is turned off or doesn't work. Or when you say, hey Siri, and it doesn't get anything you say, that would be a problem. So challenge problem, see if you can do it. That's it. That's video number 13.